Hello my beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I am very excited to do because we're going to be talking about the newly launched mini TRIOCHROME eyeshadow palette from Natasha Denona. I am very excited to play with this palette today. I'm going to show you comparison swatches with the most common eyeshadow palettes that I have in my collection and that you may have in your collection already. We're just going to see if there's anything comparable to these blue tones that you may already have in your collection, and then I'm hoping this video will help you with your purchasing decisions and will answer some of your questions. And then of course at the end of the video I will share my first impression final thoughts with you, and as per usual in all my videos, timestamps are always in this video for your convenience. But before we get started, if you're new here, hi, my name is Eve and I love all things beauty. Here on my channel I share about all things beauty and lifestyle, and if that sounds like your thing, I hope you enjoy this video, subscribe to my channel, and now without further ado, let's dive in. So here in my hand I have the newly launched mini TRIOCHROME eyeshadow palette from Natasha Denona. I purchased mine from Natasha Denona website. This mini palette right now is available in a few different retailers like Ulta, Sephora, and of course on Natasha Denona website. If you are shopping from Natasha Denona website directly, I do have an affiliate code with them. I will put it here on the screen for you. It will save you 15% off of your purchase. And of course, if you're shopping through my links, thank you so much for supporting me and my channel. So this is a 5-pan eyeshadow palette. I really like the shade of this component right here. It is almost like a duochrome-ish. It almost resembles this chroma shade right here. And then of course in the back you have some details and a little diagram of the shades. So this palette has 3 mattes, and they are cream matte formula, all 3 of them. So then there's the shade here, it's called Iroh, and it is a metallic. And here is a multi-chrome shade that's called Strike, and then the brand refers to it as a chroma crystal eyeshadow. So now let's take a look at some of the swatches and palette comparisons before we get into the item. So first I would like to put these 2 palettes together and compare them. This is Cutie Nabla Midnight. At first the color stories definitely have a good resemblance. However, they are quite a few different textures between these 2 palettes. Let's go ahead and compare the swatches. So here we have Natasha Denona, and on the right I have a Nabla Midnight palette. So for Nabla palette, I only swatched 5 shades. I skipped on that neutral shade so it wouldn't throw you off. So right off the bat, you can see that in Nabla shades swatches, there is so much more pigment within these 3 shades. The first shade in Natasha Denona is a matte formula, and in Nabla it is that beautiful, striking, the full pigment shimmer formula. So the second shade in Natasha Denona is that a multi-chrome shade, and in Nabla, it is a shimmer formula, and it is very, very striking. As you can see, it's super reflective. It's very smooth, a lot thicker than Natasha Denona's. Natasha Denona's formula right here is very thin. It does have a slight shift to it. However, it's not very vibrant shift, and I don't think camera picks up quite well as well. So on the eye, you will definitely see this a little bit better once I do the makeup application. When it comes to this shade right here, you definitely can see the difference. They're completely different shades, but they're both matte. And then this shade right here in Natasha Denona is true matte, like everything else here. And in Nabla, it is a satin shade. It's much sheerer. However, it does build up, but it is a satin formula. This is a shifty shade. This is a duochrome shade in Nabla palette, and this is a simple shimmer here in Natasha Denona. Now I have the Blueberry Muffin from BH Cosmetics to compare to. At first, you definitely see that there are some colors that could be resembling. It's not identical, but let's see the swatches. They're not identical, but they are considerably close, especially this side of the swatches. I am myself very much surprised to see how much resemblance there is between these 2. Next palette up is the Vintage Jean Baby. As far as the dark blue, as you can see for yourself, it's not identical. It's definitely pulling a little bit more towards the purple, like more navy, like true navy side, but everything else seemed to be very, very up the speed. Now let's compare the fade into hue from ColourPop. I will only swatch a few of these shades, the one that would be more comparable. So here I only have a few shades swatched, and this Cobbled Blue is a very beautiful shade, nice and bright, very beautiful matte formula. This shade also has a tint of like light baby blue, so it's a very shifty shade. It's not quite like this one, but it looks like it's a mixture of silver and baby blue, so it's a very interesting shade as well. Would work wonderfully in the inner corner. As you can see, this baby blue matte shade is quite pigmented, very nicely white based, and it will definitely come off on a lid. And then the shades are considerably comparable. Okay guys, I created this very simple look just using every single shade in the palette, and then I'm going to show you on this side exactly what I did. So let's just start from this shade right here. I'm starting from the deepest shade here because just jumping ahead a little bit here, there's not a lot of depth difference between these two shades. They're definitely color different, but depth wise I think that they are really close, so I don't want to blend them on top of each other. I'm picking this up with my Morphe 506 brush. So what I'm doing, I'm actually just stamping the product in like this. I'm not swirling my brush, I'm just kind of tapping the brush into the shadow. There's a quite good amount of kickback on this formula, even though it says cream matte. So as far as application, I'm also doing kind of the same thing. I'm stamping the color in first into this area. I am not blending anything out, I'm just stamping. I want to pack this color in, creating just a little bit of a skeleton here for my look shape. This shade is true to the color what you see in the pan here. It definitely translates the same way on my eyes, and you can see it built up really nicely and opaque, no patchiness. Very lovely. Now I'm going to switch my brush, and I'm using this blending brush from Real Techniques. It's actually called Base Shadow Brush. I think it was a part of the set. And then I'm going to go into this beautiful cobbled blue shade. This shade sold me to purchase the entire palette, just to be honest with you. This is, I think, my favorite shade in the entire palette. Look how beautiful this shade is. Wow, it's just so yummy. I really love how these matte pack. This is one thing that just stands out to me right away. So with my flat brush, I'm going into this shade, start just placing it here. This is really pretty shade. It does have really nice opacity. So on my lower lash line, I'm just going with this shade and then this shade and just kind of mixing both of those together. And I'm going into this shade. Use this on the inner corner of my lower lash line. So for the inner corner, I'm going to go with this shade, but Natasha Denona recommends to spray this shade, this metallic shade, if you want it to be a little bit more punchy and impactful. This is exactly what I'm going to do. And this is beautiful and reflective. I definitely think that it makes a difference, and it's beautifully and reflective. I think it's really flattering inner corner shade, if you ask me. And now I'm taking my Rephr 14 and I'm going into this shade again, picking up just tiny bit, tapping off the excess, and I'm going to blend out the edges. You can even take a smaller blending brush, just like very tiny, but it has to be fluffy. And you just take your time, small circles on the edge of your look. And then I'm going to apply this shade with my finger. It's beautiful. And I'm just putting it all over my lid, really. Just not covering my inner corner, but also not getting too close to my inner corners. I do have a very tiny, almost like a dust fallout, which is absolutely no big deal. So let me go finish off on the look, and I will come back with my final thoughts. So, okay guys, this is a finished look. I do want to show you a few pencil products. They're considerably affordable that would go perfectly with this look if you decide to have this palette, or maybe you already have something similar. I have 4 different pencils to show you just for that option. So the 2 pencils that I used for this look, one is from e.l.f. This is a No Budge Cream Eyeshadow Cookies and Dreams collection, and this is in a shade Chill Zone. Very nice. I'm gonna do a swatch for you here. This can also be a really perfect eyeshadow base, which I've used before, and it works really wonderfully. So it could probably work really wonderfully if you want to use this shade primarily, or, you know, push your creativity. So the next pencil that I used today, I actually added it here on my lower lash line because I wanted a little bit more like concentrated depth of color. And this is spot on, beautiful pencil for this look. This is a new pencil to me. This is from Nabla. It's called Cupid's Arrow Full Color Stylo. This is a multi-use product. I think you can use it as a base for your eyeshadows. You can use it as an eyeliner. It goes beautifully on the waterline. Beautiful gel formula. It does have a very beautiful, rich navy pigment. And then I have 2 liners from LA Girl. These are called Ultimate Intense Stay Outer Liner. I have one in the shade Never Ending Navy. It's a little bit more of a navy shade. And then this one is called Perpetual Purple. Both of these LA Girl liners, they are also metallic finishes. They are also very beautiful formulas. They work on the waterline as well as they work on skin beautifully. They also do not budge. However, you can also smudge them if you use them as an eyeliner. So I think any 4 of these, if you like to complement your blue looks, these 4 are wonderful pencils. So now let me give you my first impression, final thoughts on the Natasha Denona Mini Triochrome palette. This color story personally appeals to me. These are my type of blues, and whenever I saw this palette being revealed, I was like, yes, this was an instant hell yes for me because these are my type of blues. I also really like how this palette is organized. You have 3 mattes to work with. To my opinion, these 2, even though they seem different and they are different shades, however, by intensity, they're not very different. I honestly wish that this was just tiny bit deeper. This shade, I think, is absolutely my favorite out of the entire palette. It is just so stunning and juicy, and this metallic shade is beautiful. I also like when you spray it, it gives you a little bit more of a punch of an effect. However, she says if you use it on a dry brush, then it would give you a little bit more of that sheer color. So you can manipulate the effect as you see fit. I find that all these shades are true to color. Whatever you see here, that's what I got on my eyes. However, all these formulas go very well together. They play along with each other as a team really well. So I did not experience any issues of application. This shade, I wish it was a little bit more punchy. It's a little bit more on that like thinner formula. You definitely see the shift. It's definitely like the multi-chrome, duochrome-ish type of effect. You definitely see the shift on it, but on camera, I think it's very difficult to catch. Now that I'm looking at the viewfinder, I don't think it's shifting on camera as much as it actually is noticeable in real life. Because it is thin, it doesn't look chunky on your eye, doesn't accentuate the texture that you may have. If it's your type of blues, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with this formula. It's very easy to work with. It is up to you depending on how big your collection is, how much you're going to use this palette. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any additional questions and comments, leave them in the comment section below this video. I would love to chat with you there. If you enjoyed this video, give this a big thumb up, share it with somebody who you think also may like it, and don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Thank you so much for watching, hanging out with me today, and I will catch you in my next videos. Bye.